There's a lot of difficult heroes in Dota 2, but which are the most difficult to master? Which ones are the most mechanically heavy? Which ones are the most confusing to play? Which ones will take you a lot more hours and a hell of a lot of skill to actually master these heroes? Well, in this video, we are going to be talking about this, but keep in mind, these are also my opinions as well. While there is some, of course, a little bit of research done in the background on what other people think too, most of this is going to come down to my opinions and my thoughts. So in the comments down below, please do leave a list of your top 5 difficult heroes as well, as I would find that incredibly interesting. Anyway, do leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, as well. With that being said, let's talk about the hardest heroes in Dota 2. The first hero on our list is going to be Io. Io is a strength support hero, which in the right hands is one of the strongest supports, in my opinion, in the game. However, I do believe this hero is also incredibly difficult to master. To fully master Io, you will have to have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge on how the hero works, but not only that, how a lot of other heroes in the game work as well. The way Io works is you can tether to another ally of your choice, allowing you to buff that ally, but also provide him with HP regen, mana regen, and many other things as well, such as attack speed and spell amplification. Not only that, the ultimate of Io will allow you to teleport at any point on the map, anywhere at all in the fog, no matter what, with another hero that you are tethered to allow ganks, or to allow pushing lanes, or to allow getting involved in team fights or saving allies. This can be dangerous for yourself and for any allies you take, as you will return to that same location that you left from after 12 seconds. It will show the enemy where you will return to, and it will show the enemy where you are teleporting to. This is something you have to play with properly, and you need good communication with allies, which makes the hero even more difficult in my opinion, especially when you're trying to play it in pubs. Knowing which hero to heal in a fight and which hero to actually focus on and make sure you keep alive and give all the buffs to is also incredibly important. Most of the time it will be your carry, of course, your main core hero. However, if your main core hero is so far ahead that it doesn't really matter anymore, you may be better off picking somebody else. It's also worth keeping in mind that if you relocate, which is your ultimate, the wrong hero out of a fight, leaving another hero stranded, you could then be leaving another ally to die when, hey, what if the timing was right? What if the time was wrong? All of this comes with a lot of practice, a lot of experience, and it is a very difficult hero to master overall. What do you think? Do you think Io deserves the 5th spot on this list? Let me know in the comments. At number 4 on this list, we have Rubick. Rubick is another support, an intelligence support, and he has a kit that will allow you to learn the basics of this hero, not all that difficultly, but his ultimate is what makes this hero, in my opinion, one of the most difficult in the game to properly master. Rubick is able to steal spells from the enemy team, meaning playing Rubick will have a hell of a lot of different combos, different outcomes, or different possibilities in every different game. Of course, if you're playing against 5 enemy heroes, the next game will likely have 5 different enemy heroes. All of the abilities you can steal as long as they are the last one to be used. You can't steal passive abilities, but any actives you can absolutely take directly from the enemy if you time it correctly. Spell steal allows you to steal the last used ability from any enemies. This includes ultimates as well, so you can steal things like Black Hole, you can steal things like Ravage from Tidehunter, you can steal absolutely anything that can be used by your enemy. This means that the combinations and actual spell steal options for Rubick are completely endless, and obviously knowing when to use stuff, when to steal, being able to keep an eye on the actual field of like what ability you can steal next, what hero just used which ability, and knowing when you can steal them, or whether you wait and hold off to see if someone uses a better ability for you to use. These are all decisions you have to make incredibly quick, as stealing the wrong ability at the wrong time could lead to death, or it could completely change the outcome of a fight. If you steal an ability, putting spell steal on cooldown, and then 3 seconds later someone uses something like a Black Hole that you could have stolen, then that could have been an absolute game changer. However, with the recent update with the Aghanim Scepter and Rubick, it will no longer only reduce the cooldown of spell steal, it will also give you a second spell steal availability, meaning you can steal up to 2 spells at the same time, having 2 extra abilities along with your other ones to be able to use in a fight as well. This allows you to steal so many more spells and have to manage them and know exactly what you're stealing and when to use them and the best situation to use them in. You are able to get used to using any hero's abilities after a long amount of time, but getting used to using every hero's abilities in the right situation is something that is going to take a lot of hours to master, and in my opinion, Rubick is absolutely one of the most difficult heroes in the game to master. Some people may argue he should be higher on this list. What do you think? Do you think 4 is correct, or do you think he should be higher? Next up, we have Invoker. Invoker is technically one of the most mechanically heavy heroes in the game, I would say. However, I don't rate him as the hardest hero in the game, even though he does have 10 abilities available to use. These 10 abilities are made from combining different versions of 3 different orbs, which is Quas, Wex, and Exhort, and you will put those in any combination that you can, and then use Invoke to choose a spell of your making. For example, using 3 orbs of Quas will give you Cold Snap, using 3 orbs of Exhort will give you Sunstrike, and using 3 orbs of Wex will give you EMP. There is many other spells as well in different combinations, and you have to remember all of these on the fly because you will want to be using almost all of your spells, especially towards the end game. A great Invoker who has mastered the actual hero will be using all of his spells in a great timing, great situation, great positioning way, because they are a lot of skill shots. There is a lot of different abilities that fit different situations, and you absolutely want to be taking advantage of the fact that you have 10 abilities. You have abilities that will help you chase down heroes, they will have abilities that will help you escape heroes, but not only that, because you have 10 abilities, you can combine this with many different items and stuff to absolutely blow up your enemy team. It has not been an uncommon knowledge that in the past, if you grab yourself a refresher orb in the right situation, you will give yourself access to 20 abilities, and this single-handedly can wipe an entire enemy team if they don't have things like BKBs or the right heroes to deal with you. In some situations, Invoker can be absolutely unstoppable, and that comes down to a lot of practice, a lot of effort, and a lot of understanding of the hero's power spikes and what situation to go. The current meta for Invoker allows you to actually build your items very situationally, in my opinion. You don't have to build anything like an Aghanim Scepter nice and early. You will want to get one eventually probably, but you can always build an item that is going to help you out in the early game first. You don't have to rush into anything very specific, seeing as the way his abilities scale, there's just not really anything that you absolutely depend on. In my opinion, this makes the hero even more difficult, as you do have all the spells to consider, all of the situations in a fight to consider on which ability to use where, and then you also have to decide on a different item build possibly every single game, or a lot of different games depending on who you're against, how the game is going so far, and what is going to give you the most rewarding outcome by chasing that item first. Invoker is a very high skilled hero to actually master, so let me know in the comments. Deserve it of rank 3? I think this is probably pretty good considering the next 2 heroes, and I don't see too many people disagreeing with the next 2 heroes, but let's find out. Coming in at position number 2, we have Meepo. Meepo is a hero that would allow you to control up to 5 different heroes of the same hero, all Meepos, but 5 different Meepos at the same time. If one Meepo dies, all Meepos die. Meepo is a hero that takes a hell of a lot of skill to micromanage and make sure you're taking full advantage of. You can farm in different locations across the map. You can make sure that you are doing a freaking absolute ton of damage, bringing in 5 different heroes into a fight, but you have to consider that if you are bringing them all into a unsafe location, you are going to be a big target. Any of those Meepos get caught out of position, you are a goner. Now, this hero can absolutely stomp in many games, many situations, but there are also many counters to this hero. For example, an Earthshaker will absolutely love using an Echo Slam in the middle of your 5 heroes plus the other 4 on your team, giving him 9 heroes to throw out an Echo Slam on. That's a lot of damage, so you have to consider this. There's a lot of counter picks. However, in the right game, in the right hands, this hero can be absolutely unstoppable, like genuinely unstoppable. All experience is shared across the Meepos, so if you are farming in the jungle with 2 Meepos, laning in top lane with 1, and laning in mid lane with 1, and then laning in bot lane in 1, in a perfect world, likely not to happen like this, you will technically be soaking up a ton of experience all at once. However, if you are jungling and laning, which is what a lot of people do, you are still getting double XP basically, or extra jungle XP on top of lane XP, allowing you to out-level a ton of other heroes in the game, putting you in a great position. However, micromanaging this is not an easy task. It is incredibly difficult, and that you have 5 heroes, you also have a 5 sets of abilities to juggle as well. Meepo can throw a net, Meepo can poof to another Meepo as well, and this is just a lot to manage. Juggling this hero and making sure you don't get caught out in the wrong position and making the most out of this hero takes a lot of skill. And when I say a lot of skill, I don't just mean like a few hours of practice. You'll be practicing and improving on this hero for a hell of a long time. I've put a ton of hours into Meepo in the past and I was still absolutely terrible. So that's just the way it goes. Some people are going to have the micromanagement skills, some people aren't, but this hero is definitely, in my opinion, deserved of rank 2 on this list. However, it was incredibly close between this and number 1. Number 1 on this list is Chen. Chen is another support hero, intelligence based, that actually provides a lot to the game, but comes again with a kit that needs to be micromanaged, as you can convert neutral creeps or enemy controlled units into your control. This allows you to take control of neutral camps, which will all have their own spells to be able to be used as well, along the side of things like ancient creeps, or even just taking over something from the enemy to be able to either just convert it back to yourself to make life easier, or just in general just to steal it as your own team. That being said, this takes a lot of micromanaging to do, a lot of understanding of the actual abilities that the neutral creeps offer, but the micromanaging of Chen isn't the only issue. Chen is a very, very strong hero, but in my opinion, it takes more than just being able to micro creeps to get the most out of him. Yes, you will need to be able to use things like smokes to be able to gank into different lanes with your creeps without people just running away, but also the hero himself is incredibly squishy. The difference between someone who is just playing Chen and the difference between someone who has mastered Chen is absolutely crazy. In my opinion, and I mentioned this years ago as well, and I still stand by this, if you are a great Chen player, a really strong Chen player with a lot of experience, you will probably have an incredibly high win rate. With this hero, if you have a great Chen player on your team, the difference and the amount of domination this hero can offer is insane in the early game. Late game, Chen can fall off in the wrong hands, but it takes a lot to keep track of all your creeps, make sure you don't let them all drain out and die and completely get wasted, and actually still be useful. And this is where mastering Chen comes in, and being in the right lineup and knowing the right calls and stuff. Personally, I just think to absolutely master Chen takes a lot more skill than many other heroes in this game. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think Chen should be number 1 on this list? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what your top 5 difficult heroes would be, and we will take a look in the comments. I read through every single one of them. Also, if you did enjoy the video, do leave a like, do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you all in the next one.